Greetings, beautiful people. This is Sanchia Divine, and I want to welcome you to another Transformation Tuesday. So, thank you for joining me. For those who are here, please, I want to get this out the way early. Please subscribe to the channel. All right, like the video, share the video, and yes, please subscribe and look forward to many more of these wonderful videos coming your way. So today's topic for this Transformation Tuesday is triggers. We're going to talk about triggers. So I wanted to talk about triggers today because this is something I know most of us, a lot of us are experiencing. There is a lot going on the planet right now, a lot going on in the world that most of us are just in high stress situations, let me say that. And even if it's indirect stress, it may be stress from what's happening on the planet, all the different things that are affecting a lot of countries and places and people throughout the world, the populations of the world. I just wanted to touch on this today because I know I've been feeling it, and I've been, a lot of us are feeling it, especially those of us who are ascending with the planet. The planet is going through an ascension process at this time. So those of us who are, ascending, and we are opening up and awakening to this ascension. And for some of us, it may be uncomfortable, right? Change is usually, it comes with some uncomfortability for most of us, where if we don't, we may not know what's happening, or we may not be able to identify what we're feeling. So it causes us to just be highly triggered at this time. There's a lot of high trigger situations, I would say, that are affecting a lot of people, a lot of individuals on the planet, in the collective, right? So, let's start with what triggers are, right? So, triggers are situations, or I would say experiences, that evoke strong emotional reactions or memories, right, within us. Triggers can be anything from, it can be stemmed from certain words, places, people, or even events, right? Or specific events. So, yes, let me just get this out the way. Triggers can be healed, right? So that's the great part, right? Triggers can be healed. Yay. And, so in order for us to begin the healing work with our triggers, it's important that we understand our triggers and where they are stemming from, or what is the root, to get to the root of what our triggers may be, right? So this can be done by, we can, ways to help us get to the root of knowing what is causing our triggers. One of the ways is to, this can be done by paying attention to our emotions, okay? Our emotional responses to things, how we respond, right, to certain things, right? And also recognizing the patterns, right, that we exhibit, okay, around highly emotional situations, okay? So once we identify our triggers, or what may be triggering us, okay, we're not claiming triggers, okay? So once we identify the source of our triggers, we can begin to reprogram our, any core negative beliefs. We can begin to reprogram and rewrite new declarations, right? We can move away from the limiting beliefs, right, that have been associated with the triggers, right, by replacing them with more positive and compassionate thoughts about ourselves, okay? So, for example, like I said, all this, there are a lot of things going on planet wide, right? Throughout the planet that most of us may be feeling internally. Okay, so these things doesn't even have to be personal to us. However, whatever is happening may not even be personal to us. However, it's happening external from us. However, it may still be affecting something where it may bring up a trigger from something that we may have been of something that we may have experienced in our personal lives. So, triggers work on an individual basis and on a wide scale basis. So it may not be necessarily anything that is happening with you personally. However, something happening around the world may trigger something for you. Okay, so that's why it's important for us to identify and, first acknowledge our trauma, identify the source of trauma in our lives, and get to the healing of it. Because at the end of the day, traumas cause us, to be triggered throughout our lives. Okay, it's not that we're affected when the trauma happens. Trauma affects, trauma carries throughout our lives. So yes, that's why it's beneficial, and it is key to get to the root of our triggers so that we can heal them. So that get to the root of whatever traumatic experiences we may have had, in healing that, so that when we are triggered, we can now understand the root of our trigger, so that now we can dispel it, right? Some of the techniques, another technique for working through our triggers is, relaxation techniques, right? Relaxation techniques such as like deep breathing, meditation. Meditation is one of my favorites. Journaling, mindfulness, those things can help calm the body and the mind. Okay, it can help slow down the racing thoughts that are happening in our mind. Because I know for me, personally, when I am triggered, okay, and yes, I do get triggered. Like, even people who are on this journey, I'm as a spiritual psychology coach, I still, yes, I do get triggered. However, what's different is that now I have the tools, and I am definitely, I'm definitely in the know of who I am. I'm definitely claiming my power. I'm staying in my core, and I am connected to the creative process, and knowing that, and knowing my place in the creative process, and knowing that I am whole, and no matter what's happening external from me, I go towards the tools that's within myself to, to become one with the universal truth, and knowing the truth of who I am, and, and working through them that way, right? So those techniques like meditation, like I said, journaling, just being mindful, staying in the know, all right? That's really helpful in working through triggers. Okay, so it's also important to not avoid triggers. Okay, so yes, most of us, when we understand that we do have triggers that stem from, from instances of trauma, okay, one may try to avoid it, or not feel it, or not, or just ignore it, right? So we don't want to ignore our triggers, because at the end of the day, what you resist persists. Okay, so if you're resisting, feeling your, if you are resisting feeling those emotions around those triggers, then you're just opening a door to welcome it back again and again and again and again. So it's important to, to face our triggers and gradually learn to manage the emotions they evoke. Okay, and we can do that. I recommend to feel the emotions, feel every emotion. However, don't judge them. Okay, and I think that's where a lot of us get caught up, is that we start analyzing and judging and evaluating our emotions. And that's when, things like the imposter syndrome creeps in. All right. I'm going to talk about that in a second. That's something that's, that was my video last week when I talked about imposter syndrome. And, imposter syndrome may lead to codependency. That's something I've talked about as well. Because those things I have found to be repeated lessons in my personal life. So I have a lot of experience around those things. So I relate to them a lot. So I may speak on them a lot, right? Setting boundaries and seeking professional support can definitely provide additional guidance and assistance in the healing process. Of course, as a coach, all right, specializing in trauma, all right, for transformation. Okay, that's my specialty, and I would definitely, because that's something I had to do as a coach myself. I had to, it was very beneficial, I would say, that I got myself a coach that can help me identify or guide me through identifying and even knowing that I had trauma, and identifying that, acknowledging that, identifying that, and healing. I'm still going through the healing process. Okay, so yeah, definitely professional help and support through, through your healing process, through your healing and transformation process is definitely helpful. Okay, so of course, with time and effort, okay, and lots of self-care. Self-care is definitely important. Be graceful to ourselves. All right, be graceful to yourself. Give yourself some grace. All right, it's a lot going on. The energies that we are feeling currently on the planet, all right, these are new energies. So most people who are currently on this planet have never felt this or have never experienced, the times and the energies that are happening and the energies that we're going into. So this is brand new for all of us. But what I can say is, embracing the truth of who you are, all right, knowing that that divine spark that resides within you, me, and each and every one of us is our guide, is our tool. All right, knowing that we possess the power within ourselves to, to heal and to, get through our trauma, get through, not out, let me stop claiming it, get through the traumas, and to understand and get to the root of our core, get to our core truth, our core values in knowing the truth of who we are, and now experiencing from that place. All right, knowing that everything that is happening to us, we have created that. Okay, so it's a matter of standing in the truth of our experiences and knowing that our experiences are perfect. All right, in the way that they come to us, they are perfect because they were created by perfection. Okay, and it's a matter of getting to the source. Okay, and understanding, okay, what is the lie that we've told ourselves behind this? Okay, and knowing what the truth is from a universal standpoint and declaring new commands. Okay, so yeah, with time and effort, we are able to be in more control of our thoughts, where we are now being the cause of our lives and not the effects of our lives. Okay, so for me, what I wanted to touch on with the imposter syndrome is like what I was saying before, as far as trigger, when we're triggered, here comes the imposter, telling us all these things within our minds and within our thoughts, and our thoughts start running away with us. that's my experience. My thoughts would run away with me. Now I'm analyzing the situation and I am trying to make sense of it. I am trying to find clarity in why someone else would do what they're doing, you know, that would cause me to now be triggered. And please, it's never about the other person. Okay, they're they're experiencing with you from their level of consciousness, and even if they're causing you, or if they're causing you pain, or you're allowing yourself to feel pain through that person's actions, you have to know that that person as well is having a human experience. Okay, and they may be they may be projecting through their own trauma, through their own triggers. Okay, so it's a matter of having compassion for that person, having compassion even with the with the matters that are going on around the world, as far as wars and strife, and that's causing so much suffering around the planet. um you know our children, we have to protect our children. And for me, I would say even the even the people who are doing, even the people who are executing, um you know the pain and the suffering, even those who are evoking those things onto other people, those, the people that are in charge, or the people that are using their free will and their choices to um you know for towards the suffering of others. I want to say, we also, it's important to stay in a neutrally emotional place, where now we're not casting judgment, we're not casting an evaluation, we're not casting our own thoughts and projections onto these people. However, to come from a place of unconditional love and compassion, because we have no idea what those people may be experiencing. So at the end of the day, that could be them. We don't know. You understand? So that could be them now feeling like, okay, well, this is my justice for what I went through. So now I'm inflicting this to someone else because I went through it. So they may feel justified in their actions. I'm saying all of this to say, as it's important that when things are happening around us, it's important that we don't go to a place of judging ourselves and or the other person, because that's how we eradicate it. All right, it's important to stay neutral, feel your emotions. All right, feel your emotions. When you stay neutral, it doesn't mean that you're ignoring your emotions. It just means that you're not allowing yourself to get caught up. You're not allowing someone else's actions to infiltrate your emotional state, your emotional being. Okay, so I'm not saying be numb, or don't allow yourself to be aware. Yes, be in awareness, understand what's happening around you. However, it's important to stay whole, to stay grounded, and to stay in your power, as far as now, projecting love, projecting compassion, having grace, okay, for our planet especially. Okay, so yeah. With the imposter syndrome, like, that creeps in and it takes over, and the thoughts are running away. And yeah, so imposter syndrome is not the key, and that usually leads to codependency. We codepend on external validation, we codepend on substances to numb our reality. We codepend on church. Church was a codependency for me. and that's something too that I focus on in my practice, where I am working on helping people who are ready, or curious and ready, people who feel the urge, the nudge, okay, from within, that hey, I am ready to transition out of a church or religious atmosphere into one of a broader spiritual basis, a spiritual umbrella. Okay. And yeah, that's one of my specialties, because I transitioned from church. That's all I knew. I was a churchgoer, a Christian, and religion was all I knew. I didn't know anything about spirituality. And then I felt it within myself, as much as I love church, as much as I love God, it just wasn't feeling right anymore. And then I experienced some trauma at two different churches that I was attending. One of them being my home church that I grew up in, and the other one, I wanted to try something new. And the same exact trauma happened to me at both churches. And then I continued to go to church because I just wanted to be closer to God and find out and know my true essence. So, and church was all I knew. And then with those things happening and me experiencing trauma through the church, that led me now to seek God on a deeper level. And I was led to spirituality. And it was a lonely road. It was just very confusing. I had so many questions. I had so many, yeah. So I understand. And I am here to help people who are ready. This is not a plea to anyone to leave their church or religion. It's a plea to those who are ready and looking for that transition, or just looking to expand their knowledge of spirituality and God. Okay, I am here to assist with that. That is one of my specialties in my coaching practice, as well as just focusing on general trauma and the tools and the techniques, the E4 trauma method by Dr. Erin Haskell, in treating trauma. All right, so I am going to end here today. Thank you for joining me for another Transformation Tuesdays. I really enjoy these, and I am just coming out slowly but surely. I am definitely growing my platform, so I appreciate all the subscribes, all the likes, all the shares of the videos. Calling in my tribe, where y'all at. And my porch light is on, my heart light is on, my doors are open, and I am welcoming you all in, because I know you are out there. And yeah. I'm just feeling great and feeling good. And I just wanted, I just want y'all to know that, yes, even I got triggered recently. However, the key is having the tools and knowing the truth, all right, of the oneness of creativity, the oneness of being a part of the creative essence of this universe, of the multiverse, knowing that I am the co-creator of this life that I'm living, okay? And I am in charge of manifesting my desires, my soul's desires, my heart's desires, my biggest desires. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So, let's not allow ourselves to get caught up. Work through our triggers, don't ignore them, acknowledge them, look them in the face and say, okay, you know what? Why am I being triggered by this? And it's a call to go within, connect with your higher self, and just allow the answers to come through, so that way now you can heal that, and you can overcome all, any and everything that is triggering you, and you have the tools and the resources within yourself to do that. All right, so once again, I am Sanchia Divine. I am your spiritual practitioner, psychology coach, focused on healing trauma for transformation. All right, so I will see you guys next week. I will see you soon. Thank you for your support. All my social media, or all the channels and Phoenix Vibrations social media handles, are in the description below. All right. Thank you for joining me. Love, wholeness, and brilliance. Peace out.